Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to everybody out there. I'm your host, Sunny M, and you're listening to Come Out and Shout. Well, President Trump, you're gone. You're incinerated. You're desperado. You ain't anywhere visible to the American eye anymore. To sum that up, thank God Trump is out of the White House. Nothing to do with my episode, but I just wanted to start it off by saying thank God he's gone. And congratulations to Kamala Harris for being the first South Asian African American woman to be a vice president. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, a woman is a vice president. Thank God. And finally, right? Anyways, so I don't really talk about politics. It's not really my sort of thing. So I just kind of wanted to shout it out there saying, thank God it happened. He's gone. So I think we can all celebrate today. On another note, I wanted to talk about sort of, I guess you could say, touching on the first episode that I have about being yourself and accepting yourself. To branch off that, I was going to talk about pretty much something that I came across the other day. Ironically, I tend to do fashion shows in my room, so when I'm bored as shit during the day, sometimes out of the week, especially during now COVID, there's nothing really to do, and go out. I mean, you can go out yourself, but taking a risk out there. But anyways, I was in my bedroom just reading a book, and I had this sudden urge to, I guess, do a fashion show. So what I do is, time to time, I will scour through my closet and just pick out different, pants, shirts, sweaters, whatever, and try to assemble a different look. Looks that I didn't think of before, or just in general, just put together some sort of outfit. It's what I do when I'm bored. But touching on that, more importantly, when I was doing these putting together these outfits, I kind of took into consideration my thinking process in creating these outfits. And I think a large part in that is to do with how I've come to accept myself and just trying to be me. Obviously, you shouldn't try to be yourself, but I think there's always a push towards in yourself to want to just explore and try avenues of just feeling you. And throughout my life, because I do identify as a South Asian queer woman, there's always this sort of, I guess, pull between trying to feel like I'm part of the queer community and then also part of the South Asian community, but also simultaneously being queer. What I mean by that is that if you're South Asian out there and you're listening to this podcast and you also happen to be queer, I think there is some sort of expectation that society has for South Asian women to look a certain way in terms of when it comes to beauty. And if you identify as queer as well, like specifically lesbian in my case, there's this constant need to look queer, to get some sort of acknowledgement that you're queer. Obviously, throughout the years, it's changed. I think more so now, people are sort of like trying to get away from these labels and categories, but they do exist still. Don't get me wrong, they do exist, and I see it all the time, unfortunately. Actually, now I think it's even more stressful, especially with TikTok. There's an abundance of, I guess, people out there, TikToks that I've seen where, multiple lesbians are posting these thirst trap videos or whatever TikToks. And I'm not saying everybody. I'm just saying there's like this certain, I guess, trend for these thirst traps, and so everyone's like, there's like this sort of like obsession with looking like a certain way. Maybe that's just me thinking that, but I think it exists out there. If you don't look a certain way, you're not deemed as gay, and like, what is that? Like, what does gay look like? I don't think that there's a look to it. I don't think there should be an expectation to look gay. I think you're just gay because you're gay, and whatever you wear shouldn't define your identity as being gay. Um, and I struggled with that for my whole life until I came to realization that that's just utterly stupid. Um, and again, it was a sort of a pull and tug between my South Asian identity and being queer because, growing up, years back, I felt like you had to look gay to be a part of the community. Like, it was ridiculous. This is as ridiculous as that sounds. It's true. From where I kind of grew up and stuff, like, to be taken seriously as a gay person, because first of all, people, it's really funny how people get so stunned, when I tell them that I'm gay. It's just like, but oh, so you're gay? I'm like, what do you mean by, oh, so you're gay? Like, what? I can't be gay because I'm brown? Like, hello, we do exist out there. I mean, might not be so visible about it because there's complications, there's personal reasons. We're just not ready to come out. We're just not ready to be visible, and that's probably why people assume that there isn't any South Asian queer women out there. Majority of the large part, you see a lot of black and white majority lesbians that are out and about and out of the closet and just visible. And a South Asian queer woman, you don't see that representation because I'm not saying that, I'm not downgrading anybody else's experiences about being out and about and being visibly gay. If you're black or you're white or any other sort of race. But I'm just saying, from my perspective and my experience, it is, in my experience, a little bit different, just in the fact that growing up, it was like, okay, so I don't want to look too gay because then I'll take away from my South Asian identity. I don't want to cut my hair because, again, I don't want to look too gay and I want to still look like I'm Indian and blah, blah, blah. I just went on and on. So as I was doing these fashion shows, I realized that I've come to just fuck every just expectation, which is the way it should be. And whether I want to look masculine, whether I want to look feminine, it doesn't matter. I just wear whatever the fuck I want to wear, and that's it. And that shouldn't define whether I'm gay or not, or whether I'm South Asian or not. It's just bullshit. And so, anyways, I was picking through these outfits, and sometimes I realize that sometimes I just don't want to look too gay because I don't know if you've come across this, but I know I have. So I'll be walking with my girlfriend or whatever, and walking down the street, or if we're at stores or wherever we happen to be, or at a mall, restaurant, blah blah blah, and you come across like an Indian family or like an elderly South Asian grandma or Masi, or you just anybody who's South Asian, especially the men. They look at you because they're in shock that they're seeing. This is usually when I dress more masculine, that's the case. But when I dress like, just with regular like if I don't look uber gay, I guess you could say, like, like very masculine, then you don't get those looks. But I mean, you do get those looks, sorry. But when you wear like just, if I were to dress up, just wearing plain jeans and a shirt, I don't get that look because they don't think I'm gay. And then that's sort of like what I've already or always kind of like dealt with, is, I want to be taken seriously. Like I kind of, it cringes me to think that people, look at me and be like, oh no, she's straight because she's brown, and brown people won't come out, and brown people aren't gay, and, they don't really exist out there. But we do. And it's kind of a struggle to constantly try to, uphold yourself to these expectations of what gayness is. And I think I'm trying to channel my, I get you, yeah, it's kind of hard to know how and what to channel in yourself to sort of get rid of these expectations, but you have to do it because someone else shouldn't be telling you how to be and and what to do in terms of what you look like. To define what gay really is. Gay isn't a look. It's not. So feel free to wear joggy pants and a tight shirt, or feel free to wear whatever the fuck you want, and don't worry about people about looking at you and thinking, oh well, she's not gay, or because she doesn't look gay. Like, what the fuck is a look? Anyways, problem is, so we got these expectations, and so anyways, back to my fashion show. So sometimes I try to look less gay because I feel like in my South Asian identity, it's like an internal not embarrassment, but I feel shame. And I think that's the internal homophobia that's been locked into my head in a way. Because, it's this whole thing about bringing shame to your family. So, if a stranger, strange, like a stranger to me who's brown or Indian, my family happens to walk by and they look at me with that face, I, in my mind, think of, my family looking at me like that and, looking at me in shame. And that kind of fucks with my head in a way. And then those are the reasons that come into my mind when I'm trying to pick an outfit out. Because, look, I'm like, okay, I'm going to go downtown today, but, I don't want to look like a total butch, right? Because then I'll get these looks and then, it'll fuck with my mind and then it just makes you feel bad, right? So if you can get past feeling guilty to want to be yourself, then I think that as time goes on, you'll get better at it. So, and then I think that's the case for me. Just trying to get rid of these expectations and these ideas and internal homophobia that I have of myself due to past experiences and what you're expected to look like as a female South Asian woman. And I think it's also in the culture too. I grew up in Toronto, and majority of the so-called lesbian community was white. There wasn't really any, like, white and black. Sorry, my mistake, white and black. But yeah, you didn't really see you. And that's because, for a large part, we were scared to come out. We're scared to be visible. We're scared to see someone that we may know that might, out us to our families. And that's one of the reasons why we stay non-visible. And it's unfortunate because when you're growing up in your early 20s, you're having all these experiences, you want to have somebody to relate to. And to touch on that, it's kind of hard to get rid of the internal homophobia because not being able to see other people like us. And I'm sure in time, as years go by, there will be more visibility in terms of South Asian queer community, and I think it's starting to change a little bit for sure. It'll take us more time, but I think we should start by accepting who we are and ourselves, and that in turn will help us not feel guilty, not feel internally homophobic of ourselves. It really has to do with a mind game. The more you let the guilt into your mind, the more you feel like you're not allowed to, express your gay side. And I really repressed my gay side for a very long time. Up until 4 years ago, I met my girlfriend and she just kind of put a different perspective on life for me. We just had a conversation about just, loving yourself. And for the large part, I never used to love myself. I always used to think of myself, I'm not pretty. I'm not, I'm not feminine enough because there was a running joke that my cousins would always say, "Oh, you're so manly." And so in my mind, I tried to do everything I could to not look manly. But that was suppressing I guess, my identity because I do come off as more masculine, you could say. But I hide that part of me all the time because I feel like I'm, like, again, putting shame to, I guess, my brown identity as a South Asian person and looking that gay. But there's nothing wrong with being masculine and taking on that side of you, and you shouldn't have to feel bad for it. Instead, you should embrace it, and that's one of the things that I've learned and I've started to really embrace. I still struggle with the fact that, I still struggle when I'm out and about. Like, sometimes more of the other reason why I don't like to look too masculine is because I am fearful that, I'll get targeted. It's not too bad in Vancouver in terms of not being targeted. I can't really say that about Toronto because I never really, like, I did dress up like in sort of a masculine way, but not to the point how I do now. It's a little bit different. But I think it's also in terms of being able to have something that also supports you too, that makes it a little bit easier to have that transition. But touching on that, fact of femininity and South Asian queer women, or just South Asian women in general. I think there's an expectation, and I think when it's drilled in you when you're a kid. So like with my cousins, I have this one cousin who's like practically my sister, and she's very feminine, like very girly. Like I said, I'm not girly. I'm like a tomboy. So I don't really like to look so girly. Like when I do dress up, I like to dress up here and there. Like I do like to wear dresses. Don't get me wrong, but I have to be like in the mood to wear them. Like not like I'm not an everyday kind of girly girl. So there was always like comments from my mom where she's like, "Oh, why can't you look more like Hetal?" And why can't you look more like her? And or like be more girly and more mature. And so her idea of maturity was looking more feminine, which is just fucked up, really. So that's a shit that used to, be in my head all the time. And so when we have family gatherings and stuff, I would do my part to look more feminine. So people would take me more seriously in terms of being more mature when we had family events. So we had this one instant just recently, actually, I got into a fight with my mom because we were actually this was before COVID. So we were supposed to have a wedding this like my cousins were we were supposed to go to 3 weddings this year. Obviously that didn't happen because of COVID. But for one of the weddings, my mom was like, "Oh, if you want to, get something new to wear, let me know, and then you can order it and blah blah blah." So same thing happened last year. I ordered something new and I wore it. But anyways, the point of the story is, I was talking to my mom one day and I'm like, I really saw this cool, like this new style of suit that that kind of came about, and it's not so much like an Indian suit. It's just like a like a blazer and sort of like a suit, like regular pantsuit. It's like nothing to do with Indian clothing, but anyway. So I saw this cool fashion designer that came up with these cool, she calls it the Sandy suit. And what I'll do is I'll put a link to her Instagram page and a couple examples of what I'm talking about. But so yeah, she came up with these cool pantsuits that are created through sari material, different types of sari material. And I thought that was so cool and so different. So again, like I said, I'm sort of like, I dress up like in a masculine sort of way, but I also like to exude some sort of feminine side to me. So what I was thinking to wear during the reception was that instead of wearing like a basic, like, Indian suit or whatever, I don't know the proper terms for each type of suit, but anyway, so I came across this suit, so I was telling my mom, I'm like, "Oh, I want to wear this for the reception." And so she's like, "Okay, show me what it looks like." So I sent her a picture of what it looked like, and she's like, "Well, you can't wear this." She's like, "What are you trying to embarrass me?" And she went off in a rant, and I'm like, "What are you talking about?" I'm like, "How am I going to embarrass you?" She's like, "Oh, well, you can dress whichever way you want, but when you're going to like weddings and receptions, you can't dress like that. You can't, just do whatever you want." And I'm like, "What are you talking about?" I'm like, "What's wrong with the suit?" She's like, "Oh, I don't know why you want to look like a boy and blah blah blah." And I'm like, first of all, I'm like, as you can see, I'm like, the pictures aren't just guys wearing these suits. It's a unisex sort of like an outfit, like a guy or a girl can wear it. And so I showed her pictures, and she's like, "Oh well," she's like, "this isn't something to wear at a reception. You're gonna make me look bad. What are you trying to do?" Blah blah blah. She just kept going on and just got into a hostile argument. So I'm like, you know what, fuck it. I'm like, if this is gonna make a big shit out of it, I'll just wear a regular stupid Indian suit and call it a day. Point is that she associated this pantsuit with being gay, which is ridiculous because the chick that made it isn't like she's nowhere near the queer community. Like she's not queer at all. She's just a fashion designer, and she came up with this cool idea. It's a business suit, really. So anyways, so we got into this heated argument, and like I said, I just said, forget it, whatever. I'll just wear a stupid regular suit. And so last year when I was also buying an outfit, I sort of bought one that was that looked like a kafni almost, which is one of the reasons why I bought it. It wasn't obviously a kafni, but I got to the point where I'm like, oh, that looks sort of like masculine, but really not. But it was more me, then I felt comfortable wearing it. So I got away with that outfit. But anyways, so yeah, what I'll do is I'll put a link at the bottom of the my Instagram post for this podcast, so you guys can take a look at what I'm talking about with this Sandy suit. And you guys can give me an option or your opinion about what I'm, your opinion on what you thought or think, whether it's too masculine or whatever, which is again ridiculous because I don't think it was. But again, just instances like this where your mind fucked really to, you're trying to make your parents happy, but at the same time you're trying to make yourself happy and just try to be you, and it's just constant, like, it's just hard because I do still see my family. Like, I moved all the way to Vancouver. I carry on my life, but I do visit my family and I do go to weddings and stuff, but I don't talk and I don't express my gay side there because like, my whole family doesn't know that I'm gay. Just like my mom and my dad and my brother know, and my close friends, like all my friends really, but and then just my close cousins, but not everyone knows. And I don't really think I need to. I don't really think I need to tell everybody that I'm gay. No one. It's not anyone's business. If they find out, they find out. Whatever. But I don't need to make a big shit out of it. But anyways, back to this. So, there's instances like this where it kind of fucks with your mind. So, you get into these arguments with your parents, and then when you're, wanting to go out somewhere, you start thinking these things. Oh, am I looking too gay? Am I looking too masculine? Like, do I look right? And that's the kind of shit that I kind of deal with on a daily basis even now. So, and I think when you're trying to accept yourself, I think it's also trying to unlearn what feminine and masculinity is from a South Asian perspective. And what I mean by that is what we've been drilled in our heads to think what masculine and what femininity is, growing up to what your parents expect you to look like. I know that obviously in South Asian culture, boys are expected to be very masculine, very strong, brute people, and not show any sign of like emotion. And then women are just, I can go on and on about what women are expected to be and do. But on the other side, in terms of my queer identity, I think there is also that pressure to look gay. And if you don't look gay, then you're not taken seriously as a gay person, which is, again, it's just stupid. Like I was saying, like, I don't think you should dress a certain way to be taken seriously as a queer person. I think we should just be ourselves. And it's, again, sort of hard because, like I said, I'll be walking down the street and 99% of the time I can tell you people don't think I'm gay because I'm brown. They don't associate brown people with being gay for the most part, I don't think. And it's a shock to them when they find out that I am gay. For the longest time, I thought I had to dress queer for people to take me seriously and include me in queer culture. Because I felt like I had to, like, invent myself in a way that would allow me to be accepted in queer culture. From where I grew up, again, in Toronto. And like I said, there was no representation of me. Like, I didn't see me at all in queer culture. And like I said, it's predominantly white and black. So the only way for me to feel back in the day that I was gay is to dress a certain way to feel accepted and belong in that majority of what it was in the lesbian community. Unfortunately, that's the case, but I think it's getting better now. Like I said, there's more visibility of South Asian queer people out there, but it's going to take some time. And for me, I'm still struggling to just be me. It'll take a while, but and get rid of this internalized homophobia. It's really, really hard. It's like your own sort of mind battle, and I think in time it'll kind of get better. But it's gotten better for me. Like, I've learned to sort of let go and just exhale all the bullshit, really, because that's the only way you can do it. It's exhaling just all the bullshit that you ever learned your entire life, and just recreating what you think is you, and by no one's measure and expectation. And I think in time we will all be okay. I know a lot of you out there are going through really tough times. It doesn't make anything easier when there's these expectations, but just remember, I know how hard it is to be yourself, but love yourself and be yourself in the way that you feel that you need to be. There shouldn't be anyone telling you that you're wrong in being who you are. And all I can tell you is that self-love is really important. I learned that in the last 4 years to love myself. Like I said, I never used to love myself before. It is a journey. It is a process, but you can eventually do it. And I hope that you come to that realization that loving yourself is the best thing you can ever do, because it'll open your horizons to how beautiful you are. And that's all that matters. At the end of the day is that you feel happy with who you are at the end of the day. And if no one else is okay with that, well then fuck them. Really. That's all I have to say to that. Anyways, thank you again, guys, for listening. I did want to just kind of shout out to the fact that I actually came across two South Asian support groups. One is Quaz Network, and they do a lot of work in terms of dismantling and deconstructing the expectations of queer culture, and just there's just a lot of work they've been doing for us, for the South Asian queer community. And so I'm going to drop a link to their page, and so you can take a look at what the work they do, because I think it's really important. And then also Share Feline for those out in Vancouver. I just came across Share Feline a little while ago because they reached out to me, and I think it'd be really cool for anyone that's listening to this podcast that wants to take part in the next support group Zoom meetings. They're really chill. They're really cool. You get to know people that are kind of maybe that can relate to you, I guess, as a South Asian queer person. And we just recently, I just took part in one actually on just Thursday, and I did take part in one last month. So the first one that I took part in was hosted by Share Feline, and then the one that I joined in just this Thursday that passed, was coordinated by Share Feline and Quaz Network. Quaz Network is based out in Toronto. But so what I'll do is I'll post their tag their Instagram pages to the my bottom of my podcast, like the description, and then you guys can take a look. And we'd love to have you join us if you're free and you're open to it. It's a really welcoming and warm environment. I recommend it to anybody that just wants to, I guess, just listen or just kind of maybe introduce themselves, because it's really hard right now with COVID going on to find a sense of community. And I can really tell you that I think what they're doing in terms of building this sort of South Asian queer community is really important, especially for us South Asian queer women. Yeah, so I think if you'd like, you guys should take a look and keep an eye out for the next support group meeting that we have. Because like I said, it was just sort of chill, and just the vibes were just so chill, and I think it was just really nice to meet new faces out there that you can relate to. And I think that's the most important thing you can have when you're struggling through times like this during COVID, when you need a sense of community or people around you to sort of help you kind of cope with what you're going through. Anyways, I will let you guys go. Thank you again for listening to Come Out and Shout. I'm your host, Sunny M, and I will see you next time.